So the Gary O'Neill talks progress. Oh God. There is some other candidates and there are some other people that have kind of turned the Wolves manager's job down as well. And there's some other big news to get through. Let's start, before we get onto the Gary O'Neill stuff, which is obviously the main stuff which will come out of it. Domenico Tete, a bit of a surprise. He's actually sticking around at Wolves because I thought, because Vitor Pereira wanted him in, he'd be going with him. Obviously, all his coaching staff's gone with Vitor Pereira, but Domenico Tete is to stick around and apparently help find a new manager. But whether he'll last much longer, I do not know, but you'd probably assume not. So that was a bit of a surprise that Tete is sticking about because he hasn't done the best job in the world, has he? Particularly in the summer. Manager to rule himself out then was Sporting head coach Rui Borges. He ruled himself out pretty quickly, so that was one who bit the dust. And then I seen Carrick, I think he's on Match of the Day, was it? I saw the clip come up. He got asked about it and he basically said he's happy doing punditry, he's happy spending family time. So in a really nice way, he just basically said he's not interested, which we're going to get a lot of this with the position we're in and with our mad owner Jeff Shee being around. Rob Edwards, I've seen a quote from him from BBC Sport. He said that his daughter let him know about the speculation linking him to Wolves, but he said he's very, very happy at Middlesbrough and he's concentrating all his efforts on that. I don't think Rob Edwards will happen because we'd have to pay compensation and a hefty compensation to get him, and I don't think Jeff Shee will do that. So that probably rules him out fairly quickly, although it'd be a nice story because he was interim manager for Wolves once upon a time, wasn't he? And obviously a former player back in the day. Former Wolves striker R.Keane, who, by the way, was my favourite player growing up. Absolutely loved him. I remember crying my eyes out when he went to Coventry when I was about 8 years old. What a player. And I think I cried even more when he come back and scored the 2 goals for Villa to beat us 3-2 at Molineux, if you remember that under McCarthy. That was horrible. But yeah, R.Keane, he's over in Hungary. And apparently he put himself forward for the vacancy. I think it wouldn't be an exciting appointment, but it'd just be nice because obviously he's held in high regard in the Wolves fan base. But, we'd definitely go down if R.Keane was manager. No offence to R.Keane, but he's not very experienced. I think he was a club at Israel before that, but he's threw his name into the ring for contenders. Ten Hag is apparently on Wolves' shortlist and they will be approaching him. Mark Goldbridge, I saw, said he wouldn't fit Wolves. I agree. I wouldn't want Ten Hag, to be honest. I just wouldn't. So I don't think it'll happen, but apparently Wolves are looking. But the front runner still is our very good friend, Mr. Gary O'Neill. And if you're to believe reports today, at the moment it's late afternoon on Monday. A lot of sporting websites, Sky Bet, I think Paddy Power, they've suspended betting because they all think Gary O'Neill's got it. A lot of people are reporting, Ben Jacobs still, other journalists, that, yeah, it's done. Gary O'Neill will be the new manager. Whether they announce it this week or wait till after Chelsea, I don't know, because the James Collins, the under-21 head coach, and Richard Walker, the under-18s, are taking training. And you would assume if no manager's in before the weekend that they'll take the game, which would be a great opportunity for them too. It's a bit like when Steve Davis back in the day took over before Lopetegui took come in, wasn't it? That was a similar sort of thing. But if it is Gary O'Neill, I'd assume, this is just me guessing, he'd be in place before the weekend because it's so easy to do. He's still being paid by us. He's probably still got some of his gear at Compton in the training ground. He just slots back in. And I just can't believe it, lads. Honestly, I can't believe that as I record this, it looks like O'Neill will be the new returning Wolves manager. And look what Jeff Shee said about Gary O'Neill when he last spoke about him on a podcast.
Is there a coach you think you cut the cord on, let go too early?
It's very hard to say. Yeah, for example, like the last one, Gary, maybe we cut the tie too late. So just I think the team has lost the form and mentality, blah, blah.
He admitted himself he should have got rid of him sooner, and now we're getting that same bloke back in 10 months later. He couldn't do as good as Vitor did with a good squad last year when we had Cunha, Aït-Nouri, Sarabia, obviously Strand Larsen playing well at the time, Semedo. Yes, he didn't have, the likes of Agbadou, who obviously was really good for Vitor Pereira, but still, the facts, and there's quotes of him saying that he'd got the maximum out of the team in his last game against Ipswich when we lost. It's just bizarre that we're going back to it. I don't know what Jeff Shee's thinking is. All I can think is, like I said in my video yesterday, is that it's just cheaper. It's just a cheaper option and more straightforward. yes, he had some good times at Wolves, but most managers we have a good little start, don't they? And we had good players back then. When he first come in, and we started off really well. We had Neto, Cunha, Hwang Hee-chan was doing really well at the time, if you remember. He had a bit of a purple patch. And yeah, it's Kilman, obviously, we had at that point as well. He was good for us, our captain, never missed a game. But it's crazy that Gary O'Neill might be coming back, because you're not telling me he's going to turn this team around, unless they're thinking Gary O'Neill will be good manager in the Championship to try and get us back up. But I don't know. But yeah, so Edwards and Carrick look very unlikely. Ten Hag's still going to be approached. Heard nothing about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer or people like that. Kevin Muscat, there's been nothing about that. So all roads lead to a return for Gary O'Neill. And I spoke to a few of my mates about it. One of my mates said, who's got a ticket for Chelsea, said he's not going if Gary O'Neill's in the dugout to Chelsea away the weekend. He said he's just not going to go. He's just going to stay in the pub. So it's very underwhelming. People are not happy. It don't make sense at all in terms of footballing sense, but nothing does with Jeff Shee and his decisions. So we may see Gary O'Neill back with his iPad in a Wolverhampton Wanderers dugout. He's a nice enough bloke, Gary O'Neill, and he speaks very well on Sky Sports Monday Night Football, and he's probably a very good coach, but a manager he is not, in my opinion. He's not a man manager. He hasn't got that presence and aura about him, and I just can't imagine him giving people a drubbing. Do you know what I mean? I just can't. Whereas I thought Vitor Pereira's a nice bloke as well, but he seemed to have more of that steel. But again, his decisions were so bizarre. I'm glad to see the back of him, but I could play clips from my video last year when we sacked O'Neill, and very similar to Vitor Pereira, just bizarre selections. So if it happens to be him, I just hope his selections end as mad as they were towards the end of his last tenure. But there we go. That's the news today, lads. When you're watching this, O'Neill might have been announced, I don't know, but if he is to be, you'd assume it'd be in the next few days. But comment your thoughts down below on the crazy updates from today. And yeah, Gary O'Neill, it's going to be you. Comment, like, subscribe, and I'll catch you for the next video, which will most likely be reacting to the Gary O'Neill announcement video. Cheers, everyone.